Dear audience, my name is Matej Perovnik, and it is my pleasure to share with you the results of our study entitled Educated versus Lay Public View of Neuroscience and Science-Based Brain Health Recommendations in Slovenia. Brain health has various definitions, and one of them is that this is something that is important for preservation of cognitive functions in absence of neurological or psychiatric disorders. But regardless of which definition one adopts, maintaining brain health is one of the cornerstones for a full and long life. On the other hand, information gap was identified as a possible basis for differences in behavior and adherence to brain health related activities, and it was identified as an obstacle by the lay public. With these 2 points in mind, here I'm presenting the aim of our study, and we aimed to assess knowledge and adherence to science-based practices for brain health among individuals who self-identified as being formally educated or professionally reliant on knowledge about the brain. The data in this study were collected via an online survey within the project Možgani za možgane in August 2017. And survey questions pertained to perceived importance on brain health and brain health related activities, adherence to those activities, and recognition of brain disorders with modifiable risk factors. After data collection, we divided participants into 2 groups, whether or not they self-assessed as educated or professionally reliant on knowledge about the brain. And here I have to point out that this is a caveat of the study because this was a self-assessment and we could not double check the validity of the answers given. Afterwards, we estimated propensity score using third bias-corrected logistic regression models based on potential confounders between the 2 groups. And those confounders being age, gender, education, region of living, presence of neurological and psychiatric diagnosis in respondent or relative. Then propensity score estimation was followed by regression models, with group and propensity score being predictors, and we built linear regression models for numerical outcomes and logistic regression model for the yes or no question. Moving on to the results section, here I'm showing you the flowchart of our study participants. And 2,500 individuals filled out the survey in part or completely. And then we divided this group into 2 subgroups as described previously, with a little more than 1,000 participants being in the lay group and a little below 1,500 individuals as belonging to the educated group. The final sample included just those individuals with bachelor's or higher education, excluding those who are still in the process of gaining education, to build our final sample of 1,300 individuals. And here is the response on how did they evaluate the following practices in terms of their value for brain health. And for each practice, we have 2 lines for the 2 subgroups with color coding in yellow that they respond that this is very much important or not at all important in purple. And highlighting here are those practices where we observe statistically significant differences, although those are rather small, with 0.3 to 0.5 points difference between the 2 groups. But those activities in which they are recognized as being more important for brain health. Those are eating healthy, exercise, maintaining social contacts, new knowledge and skills, relaxation and rest, and supplements. Then we ask them, how frequently do you comply with recommendations for brain health? And once again, here I'm highlighting that there's a statistically significant differences between groups, and we can see that in the majority of practices in which they evaluated as more important. So they had the information and the perceived importance. The compliance was higher, being true for healthy diet, exercise, maintaining social contact, gaining new knowledge and skills. Furthermore, we saw that more participants from the lay subgroup responded yes to the question whether or not they engage and they identify lack of information as an obstacle for not engaging in healthy practices, and the difference was statistically significant. Then we asked them, can a healthy lifestyle reduce the likelihood of developing following diseases? And in stroke and dementia, we observed the biggest difference in proportion of people who recognize that these two diseases or group of diseases have a modifiable risk factors that can be addressed with healthy lifestyle. So to conclude, we have shown that educated population assigned more importance to brain health related activities, and they also complied more with those activities. Lastly, I'd like to acknowledge and thank Professor Bresanas for leading this study, Professor Widmer for conducting the statistical analysis, and the rest of the team who helped with data collection. I'd like to thank you for your attention.